I am an old man now. The sun has long since set on my life. I'm getting very tired, but I will never forget being a young boy and the best friend that I had when I was 14 years old. Danny Bradford was a lovely chap. He came from a big family. They never had much money, but he'd been brought up well, and he was always well-mannered and polite. Always had a smile on his face. He would do anything for anybody. Perhaps that is what led to his downfall. My mind drifts back through the years. I'll never forget that day. It was the day before Halloween, late October. And Danny, not having much money, decided to walk home from school that day. You see, he'd spent his bus fare on sweets at lunchtime, half of which he'd shared with me. I still feel guilty about that. The walk home took Danny probably half an hour or so. It was a couple of miles. The sky was already darkening when he left school, and he set off with his usual cheery smile on his face. The route he took home led him past the town cemetery, a huge sprawling place. He was walking along, kicking the fallen leaves up. Even though it was getting darker, he wasn't afraid. And up ahead, he spotted an elderly lady. She seemed to be lost, confused, and as Danny approached, she looked at him with pleading eyes. "Can you help me, young man?" she said. Well, I can try. What can I do for you?" asked Danny, ever the polite young man. "Well," said the old lady, "I've gotten myself lost. You see, my memory isn't quite what it used to be, and I came out to buy a newspaper, and the shop was closed, of course. I'd forgotten what time it was, and now I can't seem to remember which way I came or how to get home." The old lady was becoming quite agitated. She was obviously in some distress, and Danny felt very sorry for her. "Well, I can walk with you if you like, if you can remember the way at all. Oh, could you?" the old lady said, and her eyes lit up. "That would be very kind of you, young man. I'm sure if you help me, I'll be able to find my way back. I feel pretty certain it was this way." She pointed in the direction Danny was heading anyway, so it was no bother to him, and he offered her an arm, which she gratefully took and linked with him as they walked along the side of the cemetery wall. "Does any of this look familiar to you?" Danny asked the old lady. I'm not sure, but I think we're going in the right direction. Oh, hang on. I'm pretty sure it's just across on the other side of the cemetery." "All right, okay, well that's good," Danny said. Then, as they carried on in that direction, they passed a little gate, a side gate that led through the high cemetery wall. The old lady stopped when she saw this. "Oh," she said, "I remember now. Yes, I came through here because it's a shortcut, you see. We can go through this gate here, across the cemetery, and there's a gate on the other side, and I think I live just by that gate. Oh, would you please just see me home?" Now, although Danny was very brave, it was quite dark by this point, and he wasn't at all keen on walking through a cemetery at night. But he chastised himself, thinking that, well, if an old lady is brave enough to do it, well, the least I can do is help her through. So, somewhat reluctantly, he walked through the open gate, and they found themselves in the darkness of the cemetery. The old lady seemed to be quite sure-footed by now, perhaps because she'd remembered where she lived. She was more confident, and she was almost leading Danny along, and he was finding it somewhat difficult to keep up. Are you sure we're going the right way?" he said, trying to keep the trepidation from his voice. "Oh, yes, I'm pretty sure now," said the old woman. "Yes, it's just up ahead." "Right, okay." Danny couldn't help but notice the grip she had on his arm seemed to be tightening. Then up ahead he noticed a chink of light. It seemed to be coming from a large vault, a large tomb in the middle of the cemetery. "Are you certain we're going the right way?" Oh, yes, positive. It's not much farther now. Just up ahead, and we'll soon be at the gate, and we'll soon be there." The old woman seemed to be moving more and more quickly at this point, and Danny could hardly keep up with her. He was very surprised at her sudden strength and energy as they drew nearer and nearer to the source of the chink of light. Are we soon going to be there, Rennie? I will have to go home soon." "Oh, yes, said the old lady. "We're very nearly there." And at that point, they stopped, or rather the old woman stopped, and she turned toward the source of the chink of light. It was indeed a large tomb, and the door to it had been unchained, and there was a chink of light coming from within, given off by what appeared to be candles burning brightly inside. "Why are we stopping?" asked Danny. The old woman turned to him and said, "Because I live here!" And no one ever saw young Danny Bradford again.